Books, books. I like books. I'm gonna read them all.
Hi readers, Chris here. Welcome to my channel where I review fantasy, Stephen King, all sorts of books. And today I'm going to be doing a double review, 2-for-1, on Nettle and Bone by Kingfisher and After the Forest by Kell Woods. Before I dive in, I just want to say I hope you all had a lovely holiday season. Mine was crazy. By the time I was done running around, I barely had time to pick up a book, let alone do a video or an Instagram post. But here I am, and hopefully I can get back to some sort of a regular schedule. So let me jump in first with Nettle and Bone. This is my first T. Kingfisher book, and it certainly won't be my last. I had heard a lot of good things about T. Kingfisher. I've been hearing a lot of people review her books, and I was like, that sounds like something that would be right up my alley, and it was. This was right up my alley. So the setup of this one is that we have a young girl. Her name is Mara, and she's basically the youngest of 3 sisters, and they live in like this minor kingdom. So there are 3 princesses, and the story starts out where the older sister, the oldest princess, ends up getting married to a prince in a neighboring kingdom, a very powerful kingdom, and she ends up, well, without giving anything away, something ends up happening to her. And I don't think this is a spoiler because it's really part of the setup of the book, but basically this prince is so horrible to her that she ends up dying. And then the second sister basically ends up taking her place. And the second sister is now in this abusive relationship with the prince, and Mara, being the youngest one, is like, okay, I don't want my other sister to die at this prince's hands, so I'm going to do something to save her. So Mara basically goes on this quest, and she meets this witch who kind of says, hey, I'll help you, save your sister, defeat the evil prince, if you accomplish these 3 impossible tasks. Like, this is like a classic, fairy tale quest setup. You have 3 things you have to do, and then you'll get your, reward at the end. And as a lover of fairy tales myself, I just really love this whole setup. It's simple, it's classic, and it's classic for a reason, because it works. So Mara sets off on this quest, and along the way, she meets this whole eclectic cast of characters. So there's this one woman who's kind of like a fairy godmother in training. There's this one witch that has a chicken, may or may not be possessed by a demon. There's a knight who's kind of on a bit of a redemption arc. There's all these characters, and my favorite character, of course, is her pet dog, which is made out of bones. It's a bone dog. So this story is it's a fairy tale, but it's also a bit dark. Obviously, we have themes of abuse in here, so trigger warning for things like that. But I love the fairy tale elements. I love the dark elements. I love the getting the team together trope. I love the whole quest trope. And all of that is in this book. And this book is not that long. It's just about 300 pages, which for a fantasy is actually quite short. So all of that is shoved into these 300 pages. So I found this one super enjoyable. It wasn't mind-blowing, but it was good enough that I definitely want to read more by Kingfisher. It was short, it was fun, it gave me all the fantasy vibes I wanted, plus a little darkness sprinkled in. I feel like I'm repeating myself now, so yeah, long story short, I really like this one. Another book I really liked is After the Forest. Now, I don't like this one quite as much as Nettle and Bone. I don't like it quite as much. However, I did enjoy this one. So this was an Owl Crate special edition. You can see it has the sprayed edges, and it also has a really cool reversible dust jacket and a really pretty green foiled hardcover here. So this book is a Hansel and Gretel retelling. So our main character is Gretel, or Greta as she's called in here, and she lives in this like small little Bavarian town, and her and her brother Hans kind of live like at the edge of town in a hut, because there's all these rumors swirling around about Greta, because she had a mother who died when she was young, and then her father remarried this stepmother, and then they got left in the woods, and then they got found by a witch, and this witch died, and the town doesn't really know how Greta and Hans escaped from the witch. Like, there's kind of rumors that Greta might be a witch herself, and Greta has really kind of repressed her memories of the time being with the witch. She's kind of repressed that now, and she's just kind of living her life. Now, Hans, on the other hand, he's dealing with his trauma in a not very healthy way by basically squandering all of their money. So Hans, especially in the first half of the story, is a complete he's a complete a-hole. Like, he does not care about anyone but himself. He is mean and betrays people who are supposed to be his friends. He basically tries to sell Greta off to the town burgermeister to settle his financial debts. Like, he's just a jerk. So this story, I thought in the beginning, was really fun. I thought, like, I really liked this deep kind of exploration of this childhood trauma of being captured by this witch. But then, in the middle of the book, the story takes a really weird turn, and it brings shapeshifters into the story. Without, like, going into spoiler territory, there is a group of people that come to the town, outsiders, that are hired to protect the town. They're supposed to protect the town. And these people happen to be shapeshifters. And there's this whole really complex backstory about like, this one guy in the town was a member of the shapeshifters, and he was friends with Greta's father, and there's this other woman involved, and they may or may not be witches, blah, 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 blah. It's like, it's kind of convoluted a little bit, and I thought it was really a really weird turn for the story to take. So anyway, then all of a sudden, like, the person that's kind of like rules over all of Bavaria, not just their little town, decides that, like, she's gonna implement these new taxes. And of course, because of what Hans has been doing, Greta and Hans can't pay these taxes. So people in the town start, like, disappearing, and I don't know, it kind of devolves from there. So I do think that the story got a bit off track. The things that I liked about it, again, exploring Greta's trauma, her childhood trauma of being captured by a witch and having to, like, basically kill her to escape, like, that's traumatizing for a child. So I liked that part. And I wish that the book had even gone further and gone a bit deeper. Now, this is a debut novel from Kell Woods. Like, this is her first novel. So I think as a first novel, like, it's a really good and a really promising start. What I would tell her, again, is to keep the story simple. Like, you don't need all of that extra stuff. You don't need shapeshifters and all this, you know, craziness going on. Like, I think you could have kept the story simple and small, and it still would have been really good and really enjoyable. Like, I've never read a Hansel and Gretel retelling before. That's not a story I hear about when you talk about retelling. So again, really great idea. It had some really good stuff in the beginning, and there's some good stuff throughout the rest of the book. But like I said, it does get a bit off track. I think it loses focus a little bit. So overall, I did still enjoy this one. I just didn't like it as much as Nettle and Bone. And again, not the best thing I ever read, but I would certainly consider reading Kell Woods' second book whenever it comes out. So that is it for me today on Nettle and Bone and After the Forest. So now I want to know from you, have you read either of these books? Which one did you like better? Let me know why or why not in the comments section below. And even though she's sleeping, it's been too long since we had a little furry friend. So This was actually Swiper's very first Christmas. It was Swiper's first Christmas. She was so excited. I wish I had video, but I do not. She was very excited on Christmas morning with all her presents. So tell Swiper, Merry Christmas. Did you have a good first Christmas, Swiper? Yeah, I'm sorry I woke you up. Anyway, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're not already, please subscribe to my channel for more bookish stuff and more furry friends coming your way soon. All right, everyone. Happy reading. Can you say bye? Woo! Bless you. Bye.